Hey everyone, my name is Angela Hollowell. Welcome to another episode of Melanin MVP. Today I am joined by the pink-haired extraordinaire Yvonne Spencer, who is the founder of Fast Chix. Yvonne, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
So, if you're just thinking about the name, you probably are thinking something to do with women, something to do with them going fast, but it's a little bit more than that. Fast Chix encompasses running, biking, and swimming. So, can you talk to me a little bit about why you decided to start a community around women competing in triathlons?
Mainly because I am a woman competing in triathlons. And being a Black woman out there, I felt a little alone. I had some friends that were in the triathlon community, but it was a little different when I went to different pools to go training or I was out there cycling. I just looked around and I wanted to see more of me. I wanted more people that look like me to have that experience because triathlon has done a lot for me. I am a retired Air Force colonel, and in my 30 or so years, I moved around 15 times. So if you do the math, that's a move every 1 to 2 years. And with each move, one of the first things that I would look up would be triathlon club near me because I wanted to be able to key into that network. But what I was finding is that not all clubs were created equal. Not all were as welcoming. Now, whether that was because of who I am or because that's just the closeness of the group. But when I experienced things like that happening, I figured, you know what, if you don't feel welcome, then create your own space in which you are welcome and you change the mindset, you change the messaging for others that are getting into the sport. And in 2015, Fast Chix was born. It was born as a fitness community, triathlon community to welcome those into the sport, to make it not intimidating, to remove those barriers that are out there for women, and to really create a safe space for women to come and ask questions and be a part of something a little bit bigger than themselves.
So, you mentioned you started this in 2015. So
10
means it's been
years,
10
yes.
years.
And we are celebrating our Fast Chicks versary, we call it, on Saturday. Fast Chicks was actually the actual birth date, if you will, is 31 January or January 31st. So we're going to celebrate about a week in advance. But we will have that celebration in Maryland, and we've got over 50 folks that are coming in. Fast chicks, they're plus ones, some fast dudes. Again, to just be a part of that celebration of who we are, what we represent, and to show others that they too can do what we do.
10 years is a long time, so I won't make you rehash all 10 years of what it's been like running this organization, but I do want to talk to you a little bit about maybe how this transition from a recreational group to now being this group that has signature events, and you are traveling all across the country and even all internationally with these women to do these incredible events where you're not only competing but supporting each other and having fun.
It's 2015 to about 2018. It was, mainly that Facebook meetup group. And we would have different events, different postings. Show me what's on your fitness training plan. What's your best experience in a triathlon? And those types of things to get people engaging with one another. And through that engagement, the ladies on the page said, "Hey, Vaughn, we want to come together as a group. Like we've done this race in this location and we want y'all to join us. So we want you to be a part of it." And so the group really began to grow from 50 to now we're at over 1,500 on the page. But it really began to grow with that first race meetup that we had. It was at a Rev 3 Williamsburg event, which was a triathlon activity or event that had several different distances. So it had a sprint, a little bit shorter distance. Then the Olympic was like that medium distance. And then a 70.3 that capped off with a 13.1 mile run at the end. So it was something for everyone along your triathlon journey. And when we came together there, it was wonderful. It was the hugs, it was the love that we gave each other, it was the encouragement that we gave not only those women that were associated with Fast Chicks, but every woman on that course. Everyone on the course, we were cheering them on. And there were people that commented about the enthusiasm that we had and how they wanted to be a part of it. And they were so thankful for how someone on the course cheered them on, or how the Fast Chicks were there until the last person came across the finish line. And that meant something to people. That meant something to those that maybe didn't feel like they belonged in the triathlon sport, because it's predominantly male, white male is what you'll see out there. So when you see that, you can be a little bit intimidated and feel like, why am I here? How did I get here? I don't really belong on this race course. And I wanted to stop that. I wanted to stop women from feeling like that, because we do belong. You've earned your right to be there. You paid your race fees. You did the training. And so I wanted to create that community. And that's what we did. We brought that first year in 2018, we brought 30 women of color, mainly Black women, to that race. And that was something that the year prior, there were maybe 7 Black folks like altogether. And we had over 30 that came out that following year. And the race director reached out to me and he said, "Hey, Vaughn, I want that. How do I bring Fast Chicks to my event again?" And I started understanding, you know what, we've got something that other directors want, other race directors, other races want. And it's that energy, that enthusiasm, that love of the sport, because that's going to create something that other people will want to return to that particular event, which generates revenue. So I thought about it. I was like, you know what? And I talked to some friends. I said, you know what? When we come to a race, we bring dollars, we bring people, we pay for hotels, we got rental cars. And that's how I started presenting Fast Chicks in our future events about, this is the revenue generation that we bring to a locale and to your event. And it really started to gain traction.
So I love that you brought up revenue, because my favorite way to spend money is to go to brunch. And it's, to my understanding, before
Yes.
and after an
Yes.
event.
Well,
Most exciting.
our events are an experience with a little race mixed in there. And what I've made one of our monikers is that when we go to an event, I want to support the community. I want to support women-owned businesses. I want to support Black-owned businesses. And if you're a Black woman that owns a business, that's like double tap. And so that's what we started pulling in, specifically when we had a meetup in Louisville. And Louisville, that's the home of Kentucky bourbon. And so one of the Fast Chicks is there, Kim D. She pulled it out. She's like, "Vaughn, I found this Black-owned coffee shop, and I found this woman-owned business that we can do brunch." And the coffee shop, I got my job to sponsor the coffee shop at our practice swim, and we're going to do our bourbon tasting. Oh, by the way, the bourbon company wants to give you personalized bourbon bottles with our logo etched on their brand. All these things just started coming to fruition. Touring of museums, touring of the different historic monuments that are in the local areas. And we started adding that into our events, such that now the Fast Chicks are bringing their plus ones, they're bringing family, they're meeting family there. And it just keeps snowballing and growing from there.
So let me ask you a little bit about that, because I feel there's, to my knowledge, not a whole lot of data around how much kind of what we would call your everyday athlete. So anyone who's not a pro athlete, but still maybe competes on some level, how much economic upside and revenue they generate when they
Yeah.
travel for all these races. That's crazy. And to get another demographic at the table that
Yeah.
maybe wasn't previously included, now it's something that I think is going to continue to trend upward, and probably saw a big leap forward in the pandemic, because a lot of the running, the swimming, the cycling became so much more accessible, because that's the way to get outdoors. It was safe for a lot of people. And a lot of people started riding a bike when they were young. So it was like returning to an old love in many ways for some people. So talk to me a little bit about, how you see just the industry of everyday athletes changing a little bit, how these running communities, cycling communities, triathlete communities are really changing how race directors, but also fitness brands are looking at the industry now and how they can really be supportive of groups
It's
like yours and
definitely
others.
grown over the past, I'll say, 4 years. Um, and like you said, people wanted to get outside. Now they're buying bikes. Now bike shops are getting more people to come to the shops to get repairs, to buy bikes, to get inner tubes, those types of things. And the bike shops, I'll just hone in on that. The bike shops are becoming now part of the community. The bike shop that we partnered with, Jaffe Cycling, we are working with him and we're hosting monthly, we call it Bikes and Bubbles. So these monthly events where we pick a topic about cycling. What do I wear in the wintertime? How do I set up my indoor training? What do I need to buy technology wise? Because you could spend $100 or $10,000 on this hobby of ours. And just creating that again, the community, a place to go to ask questions. It's another Black owned brand that's in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. And so we're just helping each other grow in our sport and with our businesses. So I've seen that grow. I've seen more bike clubs sprout up all over the place. Bike subsets of larger bike clubs, different, starting from the beginner that just wants to get out and have fun, all the way to the I want to ride hard and fast, 28, 29 miles an hour every time I get out there, and that's all I want to do. I've seen the communities start hosting, I think pretty much every weekend in the summer, there's some cycling group, at least around here, and I think in most areas, that is hosting some type of ride, some type of way to get people together, and they're meeting at the bike shop. So they're bringing the foot traffic is what the store owners look for, the foot traffic. They're meeting at the coffee shops, the beignet shops. Again, that foot traffic, and just, again, trying to share the wealth, if you will. The same thing with running communities that are popping up everywhere. We've always had Black Girls Run, but now there's different subsets out there of these running groups that are getting together. And then the swim coaches are bringing it all in. So the sport, the industry is growing. It's taken a little bit of a sidestep with the racing aspects because we're seeing a reduction in the race events. A lot of the race directors lost money during the pandemic and they weren't able to bring it back. So now they've started combining some of their events in the local areas and switching off and saying, okay, race director, you have this particular area. I'll take this area, this subset, north section. And so that I think that the race directors are starting to work together a little bit more. And they're trying to bring down the price points of the races. You could spend anywhere from $150 up to $800 on a triathlon. And you could spend around that amount, 50 to a couple $100s on a cycling event, depending on it. So it's starting to come back, and we just got to support it. We got to support the grassroots. We got to support those race directors that are out there. We got to support the bike shops and the run shops because we're going to be their mainstay to keep them going and flowing.
So there's one of the three activities that you talked about the least, and I know why, and it's probably because it's one, the hardest to access, which is swimming, right? You either need to be within driving distance of a pool, have a pool yourself, most people don't, or have access to some body of water where you can practice. And then that's if you know how to swim. So if you don't know how to swim, you also need access to a swim instructor or someone else who can teach you or practice with you. And that's just on the access side of things. And then we're also talking about our hair, right? If you're a Black woman and you don't wash your hair every day. So talk to me about some of the ways that you're helping people overcome, especially Black women, getting used to swimming and working that into their routine, their
Girl,
fitness
let me
routine.
tell you, the whole hair conversation, it makes me twitch. So I would say that when I started back in the day, the hair was a big deal. It was a concern. But today, we've gone natural. We've got locks. We've got braids. We've got sew-ins. We've got wigs. We have so many options out there. And that's what I try to share with the women. I was like, you have options. Even if you want to go running, you're still going to have to deal with your hair. So what's the difference with swimming? You keep it moisturized, you keep it hydrated. You find a protective hairstyle that you can utilize and you learn how to swim. That's it. You either want to do it or you don't. You can make excuses all day long, but there are ways around the excuses. That's that removal of barriers, helping to explain this is how you can protect your hair. There was a time that we were discussing different hair products. It's a journey in the hair product. I just went natural and I have at least $1,000 worth of products that I don't use because it didn't work for me, but you got to try it and you got to buy it to try it. So that's the one thing. You get over that piece. And then I've been able to link people up with local coaches, swim coaches in the area that will take you from not knowing how to swim to getting in your first triathlon. And you have to pay some dollars and you got to meet them and all those different things, but they will get you from beginner to where you need to be. So what I do is I just ask, do you want to do it or not? If you want to do it, I'll find a way. You don't have goggles? Look, I got goggles. Swim caps? I got swim caps. What else you need? Swimsuits? All right. Go on the Facebook page or people are like, hey, I got these swimsuits I haven't worn. I have this and that. And it's a swap meet of very good gear that people no longer wear or didn't use at all. And so again, that's that give back to the community and removing those barriers. And swimming isn't biking and running. We ran since we were little. Some of us had bikes when we were little. That skill you get back. It's that swimming that very few of us had when we were little. So while you're learning as an adult, take those toddlers, take your kids. It's a life-saving skill, if nothing else.
Yeah, you touched on something I was actually going to ask next, which is on gear. And I think the cost of participating in a triathlete can be cost prohibitive for some people getting started if they are unsure where to look and unsure what to buy. What are some of the kind of basics that you recommend? First of all, starting with the swim
So
cap
it
Start
doesn't
there.
have to be, it starts to get there because you start learning more about the sport and now you want to upgrade or you want to get this and that. So the swim, you need a swim cap, you need some goggles, and you need a good suit. And there's sites that always have swimsuits on sale. You can get a grab bag at SwimNet and have 5 swimsuits in a bag and some flip flops because you don't want to be walking around in the swimming pool. Boom, that's it. You may have to pay money for swim lessons, but some of your YMCAs have adult swim lessons that are either less expensive or for free. So that's number one. Number two, the bike. Yeah, that can be pricey, but you can get a secondhand bike. You don't have to start out at the high end. You could try your bike shops. You can go online. I've on Fast Chix, I've had a couple of women that said, I'm no longer riding this bike. Who needs one? And all they had to do was pay for shipping. So utilizing your community, you need a helmet and a good pair of shoes. And you're going to need some bibs. But again, you got to be comfortable. And everything can be secondhand. Everything can be caught on sale in the off season. And then a good pair of running shoes. And if you're a woman, a good bra. Please don't leave home without it. Because if you do, it's nothing but pain.
My
Get a
favorite.
good bra. Get a couple of them. If you're going to skimp on anything, do not skimp on the bra. I'm telling you. I'm telling
That's so
you.
funny.
Yeah.
Okay. So for people who have now been convinced that they need to get
You
outside
need to come
and come hang
through.
with the fast chicks, talk to me about some of the events that you're having coming up.
Since this is our 10th anniversary, a number of events. So we're kicking off again with our anniversary event, which is on Saturday. That's in Maryland. And we have new gear design that goes into the store tomorrow morning. I'll be putting that out there. Let's see, in March, we have our Fast Chicks Train in Paradise. It's a triathlon training camp in Costa Rica. We will swim in the open water, we will ride the hills, and we will run in the sun. And we'll have a couple of coaching events there as well. But it's more of a sistership in the sun, if you will, us getting together, doing that thing that we like to do, which is train for that triathlon. And let's see, I'm trying to remember the dates. In July, we will have one of our main meetups, and that's Tri Louisville, July 13th. It is a triathlon event. It also has an aqua bike, which is just a swim and a bike if you don't want to run, and then a duathlon, which is a run, then you get on your bike, and then you run. So or check it out, you're shaking your head. If you only want to do one of the events, get two of your friends to do the other one. So if you just want to ride your bike, go on and grab you a swimmer and a runner, and you have a relay team. Look, it doesn't get any easier than that. You just need to come out there. You just need to come through. All right. Okay. So in August, we'll be headed up to Michigan for the Titanium Triathlon. And that has all the distances: sprint, Olympic, the 70 point through, and the 140.6. And the plus side of this particular event, there's no time cutoffs. So as you get into triathlon, some of the events have cutoffs in which you need to reach certain points, and there's no cutoffs in that event, and that is August 10th. Fast forward, this is for you, for the cycling. We'll be at One Love in Atlanta, Georgia, Labor Day weekend. It's a full weekend. I think it's about 5 days of cycling. You cycle, you stop, you eat, you drink, you fellowship. You wake up, you cycle, you stop, you eat, you drink, you fellowship. It's really a big party at the fairgrounds. The cycling clubs, they convalesce there. It's put on by the Metro Atlanta Cycling Club. And they pitch up your tents. They got grills going. They got food, you name it. It's going to be definitely a good time. And then in October, we have a few ladies that will be out in California doing Ironman California. I believe that's October 19th. And then October 25th, we will be in Wilmington, North Carolina for Ironman North Carolina 70.3. So a 1.2 mile swim, 56 mile bike flat, and a flat run. So there you go. There you go. And get some friends and you can do a relay. And then in November, we will be joining Cycle Jamaica. They are having a Tri Jamaica, which is, in addition to the cycling, it's an all-inclusive cycling event. They're going to add some swimming and some running. And that is November 13th through the 17th. And if you're interested, let me know. We have a discount code for $250 off. But again, it's more fun in the sun doing that thing that we love to do. There may be more things. You just got to stay tuned. We're going to be out there in them streets, I'm telling you.
Right here. High level recruiting. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to be able to resist, but we'll see. We'll see how we feel after the first one. My first one of the year will be end of February.
Is it the Selma one?
For that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
That one. Yeah.
I know some fast chicks might be down there. I'm going to tell them to look you up.
Please do. I would love to talk with them. Yeah, I think it'll be good. And that's what I've heard, because even, when I first heard about the Selma to Montgomery ride, I wasn't living in Alabama at the time. I was living here in North Carolina, and some people were going down. So I think it's one of those rides where a lot of people come
It's the
from all
60th
over,
anniversary, and it's a historic ride. And when you talk about being in different places, Fast Chicks is nationwide. It's a nonprofit organization. And so it's about the networking. So if you're in Texas and you're bringing your bike, you need to pop up on the page and say, hey, who's where I am? And I promise you, someone will reach out and say, I'm here. I can meet you. And if they don't meet you for a ride, they'll meet you for brunch or happy hour. We like happy hours. Yes.
I love it. I love it. I'm excited. I don't know about you, but I think we got some mandates, and hopefully I'll see you.
Hope is not a strategy.
Out on the road.
We will design to make it be. Hope is not a strategy. I hope I get to the finish line. That is not a good strategy. No.
Fair enough. I'm not going to argue with that. That is the truth. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for sharing about what's going on. I really hope some more people come out. I think it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be beautiful weather. And I think it's going to be some
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Being around these ladies and fast chicks and our fast dudes that follow us around the events just because we bring the party and we have a good time.
Thank you so much. I'm excited. I'm going to see you this year. And we
Absolutely.
are going to have a good time.
And remember, fast chicks, it's a mindset and not a pace. So in your mind,
Love it.
you can be
Love
as
it.
fast as you want to be.